If you've ever put on a smile while hurting, stayed silent when you felt like screaming, or told someone, "I'm fine," when you were anything but, this video is meant for you. Because most people misunderstand those who keep their real feelings hidden. They think it's a weakness. They say things like, "Just open up," like your way of handling emotions is broken and needs fixing. But what if it isn't broken at all? What if the psychology behind hiding your feelings actually shows something deeper and more impressive about who you are? Today, we're breaking down the real psychological reasons why some people hide what they feel. Not to judge them, not to fix them, just to finally understand them. And if you're one of those people, listen carefully. There's more depth, more intelligence, and more emotional awareness in you than most people will ever see. Let's get into it. First, you learned early that showing your emotions wasn't safe. Psychology tells us that how we deal with emotions as adults is shaped heavily by our early experiences. If you grew up in a place where expressing feelings led to criticism, being ignored, or tension, your brain did something very smart. It adjusted. It figured out how to protect you by keeping those feelings inside. Maybe you cried as a kid and got told you were being too dramatic. Maybe you got excited about something and someone made you feel stupid for it. Over time, your nervous system picked up a clear message. Feelings are dangerous. Keeping them hidden is safer. That wasn't weakness. That was survival. What you carry now isn't some flaw in your personality. It's protection you built when you actually needed it. And seeing that clearly is the first step to deciding, on your own terms, when you're ready to let it down. Second, you feel more than most people, and it can be overwhelming. This might not be what you expect. Research on emotional intelligence shows that people who hide their feelings often experience them more strongly than people who express everything openly. You're not disconnected from your emotions. You're overloaded by them. The person who says whatever they feel right away doesn't spend much time thinking it through. But you feel something, and your mind instantly starts working. Who will this affect? How will they respond? Will this make things worse? You're running hundreds of checks before you even say a word. Psychologists call this high emotional sensitivity. And even though it can drain you, it also means you're deeply empathetic. You notice shifts in people's moods before they say anything. You sense the atmosphere in a room in ways others don't. You stay quiet not because you feel nothing, but because you feel so much that you don't even know where to start. Third, you've been trained to keep the peace. Psychology shows that people raised in emotionally unstable environments often become what therapists call emotional peacekeepers. Your role, whether it was given to you or you took it on yourself, was to keep things stable, to avoid conflict. You got very good at reading tension and calming it down, usually by pushing your own feelings aside so you could handle what was going on around you. Over time, this reaction became automatic, and you might not even realize you're doing it anymore. Someone says something that hurts you, and before you fully feel it, your face is already neutral. Here's what you need to understand about that. You built a level of emotional control that most people spend years in therapy trying to develop. You can sit with discomfort. You can hold back your reaction. That's a rare skill. The goal isn't to break it, but to make sure you also give yourself space, somewhere safe, to actually feel what's inside you. Fourth, you're afraid of becoming a burden. Research keeps linking emotional hiding to something called high burden sensitivity. It's a deep fear that your feelings might overwhelm or drive away the people you care about. And most of the time, that fear comes from care. You hold your struggles in not because you don't trust people, but because you care about them enough that you don't want to become something heavy they have to carry. You've probably said things like, "I don't want to bother anyone with this," or "Other people have bigger problems." But here's the honest truth psychology gives us. When you share vulnerability with the right people, It doesn't weigh the relationship down. It makes it stronger. The people who really care about you aren't looking for a perfect version of you. They're waiting for you to let them see what's real. Your feelings are not too much. They never were. You have a right to take up emotional space. Fifth, you haven't felt safe enough to be fully seen, but a part of you really wants that. This might be the most important point today. The need to be truly known, not the edited version of yourself, but the real and complicated one that almost every person carries inside, including you. Especially you. Psychology shows that hiding emotions is rarely about not caring. It's almost always about fear. Fear of being judged. Fear that the real version of you is somehow too much or somehow not enough. So instead, you show people a safer version, one that doesn't risk the relationship by bringing your full self into it. But think about this. When someone has seen a real piece of who you are, what usually happens? Most of the time, that's where real connection actually starts. You don't have to open up all at once, but you do deserve at least one place, one person, one journal, one quiet moment where you allow yourself to be unfiltered, not performing, just real. So here's what you should take from this. If you hide your feelings, you're not broken. You're not cold. You're not emotionally unavailable, and you're not hard to love. You're someone who learned to protect yourself in the only ways you had. Someone who feels deeply and carries it quietly. Someone whose inner world is much deeper than most people around you will ever see. Not because you can't express it, but because you haven't often felt safe enough to try. The goal isn't to turn into someone who shares everything. The goal is to slowly and gently, on your own terms, let the people who earn it actually see you, because you deserve to be known. If this video connected with you, subscribe. Every week, we break down the psychology behind the traits that shape quiet, deeply feeling people. Not to label, not to fix, just to understand. And sometimes, that understanding is exactly where healing starts.